Next up at UFC Vegas 80, we have Drew Dober taking on Ricky Glenn. Drew Dober 26-12 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off that knockout loss to Matt Frevola. Taking on Ricky Glenn, 22-7 overall, 2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that
Does
knockout
he have chest
loss
hair?
to Christos Gallegos. Who? Drew Dober in that picture? He does.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't think this is
He just
a new
like,
picture.
He's just so like clean everywhere. It's just I don't know if I love it.
I'm sure he gives a shit what you think. Drew Dober, fun striker. Give one, take one. He is there to brawl it out, which is odd because he's actually a very technical striker. And when he's like using his actual technique, it's clean, it's crisp, it's where it's supposed to be. And then he gets wild. Then he gets sucked into a fight. Obviously, the legend of his chin and the damage he could take continued to like balloon up and live on. And he almost leaned into it because he's just willing to stand there and slug it out. And finally, it gave up. His chin quit on him with Matt Frevola landing that big power. But Drew was winning those early exchanges, and he looked sharp. He looked clean. And then he got sucked into a brawl, and he got hit, and that is what it is. But Drew Dober, pretty well-rounded guy. He does have technical striking. You can't count on him to fight a technical fight. But he is a dangerous guy. He will get in your face, and he will swing. Taking on Ricky Glenn. Ricky Glenn's a volume striker. He stands nice and tall. He marches forward, but he tries to stay outside of the pocket. He's Drew's exact opposite. Drew wants to be in that pocket, firing away. Ricky Glenn wants to be outside the pocket, just sort of picking his shots and not keeping, trying to stay clean and not get into a dirty fist fight. He has only 4 takedowns in his UFC career, and they all came from one single fight 6 years ago, so you can't exactly count on him to come in here and try to wrestle Drew, which means we have a striker versus striker matchup. And Drew Dober's chin, yes, quit on him in his last fight. The problem is it back? I don't know. Is it gone forever? I don't know. Like, we've seen several fighters who had great chins lose the chin, and the chin never fully recovers. Drew Dober's a pretty young guy. Even if it's not fully recovered, he should win this fight. The odds reflect that. I think he's going to hit harder. He actually has the better technique if we can count on him to use the technique. But Ricky Glenn does hit really hard. He does have some power. It is possible Ricky Glenn knocks out Drew Dober. I don't think that's going to happen. Drew Dober is going to be the pick here, and these odds are honestly probably correct. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't know if the odds are correct. I would put Drew Dober, coming off a knockout loss against somebody with the power of Ricky Glenn at like a minus 200, something like that. I am, I don't want to sit here and say I told you so, but I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit because that was one of my most controversial lock of the weeks of all time when I picked Matt Frevola against Drew Dober, and it came down to the easiest breakdown. This guy gets hit. Frevola has the speed, he has the power, and his chin is not going to last forever. That's exactly what happened. But even in that knockout, he was knocked out, but it wasn't like a clean, like, put your lights out. He still was like, it was almost like every other time he's been knocked down, except the ref stopped the fight, and he was a little bit staggered and stuff, but at least he was still kind of there. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, here we go again. Drew Dober against another powerful guy is going to get knocked out again. I'm on the Drew Dober side in this matchup, but I can't trust him at this point. Just like I couldn't trust him when I had Matt Frevola as my lock of the week, and I tried to warn everyone, and the hate I got that week was one of the most hateful weeks. Oh my, if Matt Frevola's going to, the Crimson Chin, he's going to knock out the Crimson Chin. So I am going to toot my horn every time that comes up. But Drew Dober should have, as you mentioned, the striking, the speed, everything to win this fight. And the biggest difference here is Ricky Glenn doesn't have the speed of Matt Frevola. Matt Frevola was beating Drew Dober to the punch against the fence. I mean, basically just beat him. He beat him with speed. Ricky Glenn is a powerful guy, but doesn't have that same type of speed. So Drew Dober should be the faster guy, should have equal power. He should be the better striker. So, I guess I get the odds why. And I mean, Ricky Glenn just got face planted in his last fight as well. So, I am going Drew Dober here, but I told you guys not to trust him, and I'm not trust him, with my money at this point. But he should win this fight.
Yeah, I also picked Matt Frevola in that last fight. I don't know why everybody forgets when I also pick a phenomenal underdog 3 days before Jacob does, and gives it his stupid stamp of approval.
I'll give you guys a little behind the curtain here.
I've been bitching about this for a while.
Angelo is getting very, very jealous of the love that you guys give me on Lock of the Week when he also picks that person. Even when he doesn't bet him, The Dirty Bird stuff you were mad about. You didn't even put a bet on Dirty Bird.
I picked him 3 days before you. 3 days before you.
I made him my lock. I bet him.
Billy Golf, I picked before you with a bet. Matt Frivola, I picked before you with a bet.
So this is what I'll say right now.
It's an absolute joke.
When this eventually all burns down to shit and we all go our separate ways and it all falls apart, this is the seed that started it all. That's all I'll say.
I actually don't give a shit. It is just fun to complain about.
Well, you talk about it a lot for somebody.
No, you know why? Well, because it's just funny to complain about. What is
real funny, yeah.
Yeah, well, especially because right now it's all love. You miss whatever your lock is this week, and then everybody hates your guts and you're a loser. And I'm totally fine not being recognized for that. But what the hell was I going to say? No, where it was coming up is I picked Billy, then you picked Billy. I picked him, then you picked him. I picked Frivola, you picked. No. And you don't watch my shit. You pick it on your own.
Right,
I'm not saying
I have
that.
no idea what your picks are.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm saying this when we end up picking the same underdog, even though it's a few days apart, and you make it the lock, that success rate's probably at 90%.
It is pretty
more so than when when we're split. Obviously, you still have some success, but when we actually agree, I obviously have no idea what your picks are. You don't watch any of my shit, so you don't know what mine are. So I'm curious to see who it is this week. You said it was going to be Chris Gutierrez, but that dropped. So
it was a joke. It was not going to be Chris Gutierrez.
Oh, well, you said it was, so I don't know.
Yeah, the fight drops. I was like, because we've had so many of those situations where I was like, here we go. It was going to be Chris Gutierrez, but no, it was not. I think we know who it's going to be. 7 o'clock on the dot.
It better not be Deanna Belbita. That's insane.
Oh yeah. Is it? Because sometimes the lock of the week is more than just picks. Sometimes it's about love.
Sometimes I pick with my heart
about love,
instead of my brain. Anyway, back to this fight. Drew Dober at $9,500. He probably ends up being worth it, honestly. I agree with you. I mentioned his chin may not be fully recovered, and Ricky Glenn hits like a freight train. But why are we only focusing on the fact that Drew Dober is coming off a knockout? Ricky Glenn also. Ricky Glenn's
that wasn't
also
a big
coming
shot.
off a knockout.
I mean, that was like one of those perfect shots, but it wasn't like a big shot, and that was like one of those poop. They just fucking little face plant.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear you. So Drew Dober, $9,500 is probably worth it. I do have him in a parlay as well. I mentioned earlier I have that I will regret this parlay with Murata. Drew Dober's the other half of that. I threw the two of them together, slapped that out there. They both should win. I agree with the odds on both of them. They're big favorites. I think they should win, but anything's possible in this game. What are you laughing at?
Angela, call it dog nut of the week because of the pun on donuts and you're a cop. Why don't you ever acknowledge people in the chat, by the way?
Yeah, you saw that, crybaby? I'm also not a cop.
That was the most cop way to say that I've ever heard. I'm also not a cop. I'm totally not a cop.
You know what's funny? I always say cop, and some of my best friends are police officers. And so the kids say cop now, and Tiffany is always like, that's disrespectful. They're police officers. It's like, what? I don't think it's disrespectful.
You know what
if you're a cop in the chat, let me know if cop is disrespectful. I don't think it's it's like it's not
just don't fucking
derogatory. It's not derogatory. It's just like a short. I don't know. I don't even know what it means, but it's not derogatory. Everybody says cop.
You know what? I should have mentioned this in the Deanna Belbita breakdown. Maybe in the Montana breakdown because she seems like she likes like nice guys, and I think Deanna could get a little bit wild. But the other weekend, I always Saturday morning. I take the dog. We go, we get breakfast, we drive around. Sometimes we get donuts, we wash the car, get gas, all that stuff. And I stopped, got a couple dozen donuts. You know where I dropped them off at?
The homeless shelter?
The fire station, man. Firefighters out there washing their trucks. I said,
Did you really do that?
Yeah. I was like, you guys eat breakfast yet? They were like, no. I was like, here's fucking 2 dozen donuts, baby. They were like, I appreciate that. There you go. Nice guy.
Good for you after they saved your life that night. Good for you. Just paying it back.
You guys might remember me.
I was crying though.
This is me. And they're like, "Hey, here he comes, guys! This is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy that said that he had fentanyl in his McDonald's. This is the guy.
These safe to eat with the donuts."
Oh shit.
Anyway, good times. We're both on the Drew Dober side. I have those couple of bets, and if you want to see everything else, weonpicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.